right, Uma Fight Camp, posting this video from the house. In other videos, I've said that I've taken a little time off because I've just had a promotion. I spar after my students spar with each other. I spar personally with my students so I can access or assess where they are for promotion. So I'm a little beat up right now. Therefore, some of these videos, like this one, will be posted from the apartment. All right. What I want to say here, and as far as those people concerned with the with Brick City combatives, I haven't forgotten that. Just that most of the techniques that I do, physical techniques, I want to do from Brick City, from actually the school, and will cross-post some of them. Most of them I will not cross-post. I will just post into the Brick City combatives channel. To those people who have given, and those people just giving funds, and those people who are not just, but are supporters and just don't have anything to give, I haven't forgotten you. I just basically want to write out everything separately and contact you by a personal email. And it just so happens that I haven't had the time. Working on my, just got accepted to, didn't want to say anything until I got accepted. Just got accepted to a pretty good university to work on my master's in philosophy. So I got a lot of credit for a paper that I did, a lot of credit for that, which is actually going to help me get it quicker, and that's why I haven't been posting videos. All right, now I want to address the issue of the cross-arm boxing position. Now, some years ago, I mentioned about the cross-arm boxing position. I was asked about the cross-arm boxing style, okay? Over a period of about 3 or 4 years, there were people who came into that forum, and actually I had forgotten about the video, but there were people who came into the forum and said some fairly nasty things, forgetting who they were talking to. And you want to hang on because I'm going to give you a little piece of history. They were saying, well, this guy, you know, why is his cross-arm positioned up like this? And, you know, he needs to watch Archie more, and, you know, he's doing it all wrong, and, you know, this kind of thing. First, let me say this. The question I was asked when I did that video was this, right? And you want to listen through the duration of this video. Trust me. What I was asked when I did that video many years ago, right? 4 or 5 years ago, it was many years ago, considering I've been on YouTube for 7, so I guess 5 years ago would be many, in relatively speaking. But if we look at what I was asked not what I thought of the cross-arm defensive position, but what I thought of the cross-arm style. Style, meaning boxing like this all day, every day, throughout a boxing match. That's what I was asked. Based on that, that's what I answered, okay? And the question specifically came in regards to George Foreman, okay? It did not come in regards to any other fighter or what I thought about the defensive position, okay? The defensive position. I will explain what I mean by defensive position, okay? I said I don't like the cross-arm style because it leaves open the body. The answer came back, or some people came back who had their panties in a bunch, right? Said, he doesn't know what he's doing, and this and that, and he needs to watch Archie more, this kind of thing, right? When someone says cross-arm style, I am assuming that they're talking about boxing like this, coming out, and this is how you're boxing. That's it. When people like Archie Moore or James Toney use a cross-arm defensive position, okay, it is coming out of one position into another and then back into another position, okay? At the time that they are in this kind of position, they might be under attack, but it is not how they are fighting through the duration of the fight. It's not through the duration of the fight that they are fighting that way. So when someone says style as opposed to position, they need to be specific. Saying the cross-arm style is like saying the shoulder roll style, that this is all you're going to do all day. Yes, I have an issue with that. The shoulder roll itself, I have no issue with. Next, I want to say, in reference to many of these people who say that they use the cross-arm style or they like the cross-arm style, and that, you know, I should watch Archie more and other people should watch Archie more and bringing up Archie more and this kind of thing. First of all, you are not Archie Moore. And I want to say to those people, you are not Archie Moore. Most of the people talking about the cross-arm style don't even spar. They don't even spar, or if they spar, they don't spar anyone who could give them any real kind of competitive reaction to it. Generally, when people use a cross-arm position, generally when they use it, four things happen. They either leave their body open, leave their head open, they stay in that position so long that someone figures out what's going to be available at what time, or they fall into a defensive lapse, and or they fall into a defensive position and they remain there. Archie Moore would go into this position and cross from that position. He would go into that position and uppercut from that position. Most people who talk about the cross-arm or cross-arm position do not know how to fight out of that cross-arm position. That's the problem. And one reason is because they're spending more time looking at DVDs and YouTube videos than they are actually sparring. Okay? Right now, at 57 years old, I started boxing when I was 9. I'm currently 57. That's right, 57. Almost 60 years old, right? I got hit by a car when I was 13. I could not box for 6 months, okay? It's only been 6 months. From 9 to 57, I have only gone 6 months, okay? One time, just 6 months without doing something in a week, without sparring in a week, okay? So what that means is if you take 6 months away from my life and you look at all the other 48 years or so, right? For all those 48 years, I have never gone more than a week without doing something, some kind of sparring, karate or boxing, from the time I was 9 to 57. Okay? And that still holds true to this day. For most of that time, I had to use, because I was shorter, some form of cross-arm defense. So for those people who say, well, okay, he doesn't know how to do it, or this is not, or this is this, I want to say to you, so you know, I have to have proof. See, Safe Carmen has to have proof for some reason. You understand? He has to have proof. Everything he says, he has to prove. Look at any video of me sparring, and you will see at some point I'm crossing my arms. There's the proof. Look at my Philly Shell program. By the way, the best Philly Shell program on the market. Look at a clip of my Philly Shell program working with Tony Jackson, showing how to defend against the right cross, and you will see me using a cross block, okay, or a cross deflection. Look after it, up until the time I was 55. Let me say this: up until the time I was 55, I used to go to a park, a local park, right, every 2 weeks, and let people throw punches at me, just to keep my defense sharp, until my wife said, that's it, you're not doing it anymore. 55, that's it, you're stopping it. Okay? Now, if you look at one clip where my wife, Nasiba T. Hill, after I get finished letting somebody throw punches at me, daring them to hit me, right? Okay, posting $5 for anybody who could hit me in the face one time. Right? For every time they could hit me in the face, right in the face, I was giving people $5 up until the time I was 55 years old. That's right, me, yours truly. The guy who rants against Joe Rogan and rants against all these fake people that you got to go to Beverly Hills that you can never find, that sit up and talk on social media. Yes, me. Right? Used to give people $5 up until the time I was 55. 2 years ago. For every time they could hit me in the face. Total strangers. Till my wife told me, that's it, retire. You will see her holding pads for me when I'm winding down and I'm throwing some pads before we go home. I'm hitting the pads before we go home. You will see me using a cross-arm position. I'm a master of the cross-arm position. I wasn't asked about the cross-arm position. I was asked about the cross-arm style. Look and see. Every video of me sparring, by the way, Tony Jackson, one of the people you see me sparring, is one of the best, if not the best, masters boxer over 40 years old in New York State. Okay? So even people you see me moving with on YouTube are not slouches. Okay? I just want you to know that. All right? It's for you people that got your panties in a bunch because you thought I didn't know what I was talking about when I said about the cross arm position. I was asked about the cross arm style. Lastly, I want to explain this to you. I want to tell you something. Most of you will not know what I'm talking about, all right? But I just want to let you know this piece of history. There used to be a gym called the Times Square Gym. Times Square Gym. When I was about 16, I asked my mother, could I start to take the bus from New Brunswick, New Jersey, Suburban Transit at the time it was called, from New Brunswick, New Jersey, to New York to go to the Times Square Gym. You would probably have to be about 55 to 60 to remember the Times Square Gym. But the Times Square Gym in New York was located right across 7th Avenue. Right across 7th Avenue. And if you were coming from 8th Avenue to 7th Avenue, once you cross 7th Avenue, it would be on your left-hand side. I believe it was on the 2nd or 3rd floor. When you would get up to the 2nd or 3rd floor, where the floor was in, oh, by the way, the Times Square Gym, it said Times Square Gym on the window, right? Big window. Big, it looked like it was a mile long, but it might have been long, maybe 30 feet, 20 feet long, right? The writing was in red. It was in red. The body of the writing, the fill of the writing was in red, and it was white outline, Times Square Gym. It was a very famous gym, because it was about 9 blocks from Madison Square Garden. So when Muhammad Ali and Roberto Duran would go to Madison Square Garden to fight, they would train, you know, closed door, but they would train in Times Square Gym. Every now and then they would have a press, sparring session, and if you were lucky enough to get there early, you could stand around and watch them spar. Now, almost every day, when you would go to that Times Square Gym, it was $5, by the way, just so you know, because again, I have to give proof. It was $5. It was $5 to watch and about $10 or $15 to train for that particular day. When you would go upstairs, usually there would be a Puerto Rican ex-featherweight champion by the name of Juan Laporte. Juan Laporte would generally collect the money. In the ring, which was right in front of you, in the ring would be Emil Griffith, the former great welterweight champion Emil Griffith. Well, when you were there, you would always see people come in. You would see a Sal Manby come in. You would always see a young Hector Camacho with that little curl right there with tons of gold hanging on. He would come in and be talking as usual. You would see people like Edwin Rosario. Most of you don't have no idea who Edwin Rosario is. You can look him up, a former great Puerto Rican fighter. But at least 4 or 5 times a year, a man by the name of Archibald Lee Wright would be in that particular gym because he had retired from fighting, but he had some clients. He wouldn't take any amateur fighters. He would only take professional fighters, and that was when he felt like it because he didn't need the money that much. But he had managed to save a little bit, and then the stars kind of liked him. He did some acting. His major client was George Foreman, who wouldn't be there in New York. But Archibald really didn't like cold weather. So the only time you really saw him in New York was when he had a client. Well, that man was Archie Moore. Archie Moore would be in that gym when I would go in as a 16-year-old every 2 or 3 weeks, and he would be showing somebody the cross-arm defense. He would be maybe 9 or 10 yards from me, and I would look and I would watch him. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I walked up to him and I had him personally teach me. I did shake his hand. I did say I was an admirer. I did ask him if he would mind me looking. And always the graceful man that he always was, even and I always remember him in that the skull cap, the woolen handmade cap that he had the African colors, the red, black, and the green, and he would have this over his hair, and the beard he had the salt and pepper beard, but he would be maybe 10 feet away from me, showing his famous cross-arm boxing position. That's right, Archie Moore. I would look at him as a 16-year-old, watch him for an hour or two, and then get up, take the bus back to New Brunswick, wait until it was time to go up to the PAL gym in New Brunswick, the Police Athletic League gym, and try to apply those things in the ring. That's right. So for those people who try to be funny, who try to be cute, and said, well, what you need to do is you need to watch a film of Archie Moore. I'm 57 years old. I saw Archie Moore 10 feet in front of me at the Times Square gym, 1977, 1978, on a regular basis. At least 3 times a year, he would be there working with a client for a period of maybe 2 to 3 months, based on how long the client was going to be, based on how long his fighter actually had to train for a fight. Okay? So no DVDs, no YouTube, no VHS, no television. Archie Moore, 10 feet from me. Did I know him well? No. Did I admire him? Yes. Was he nice and did he talk to me? Yes. Did I ask him if I could watch him? And he said anytime. So for those of you who resent the fact that it's me telling you the truth, I'm 57 years old. I have more experience than most people you have ever known, and certainly probably more experience than you. If you want to learn something, then come to this channel and learn something. If you've got to get your panties in a bunch, do not come to this forum, because if you attack me, I'm coming back. Uma Fight Camp, Safe Carmen. Train hard, train smart. I'll see you in the next video.